The month of May is just a few days in and mobile gaming is already doing what it does best. Bringing many new games and still somehow hiding a few real gems in the bunch. Hello friends, this is Mobile Game Zone. Today we're checking out 20 top quality new mobile games June for Android and iOS.
I don't think we're supposed to be here.
So, first of all, sitting in at number 1, we've got Among the Sleep. The game finally made its way to Android and iOS and honestly still has one of the coolest setups in this specific genre. Where instead of playing some soldier, detective, a survivor, you are literally a toddler wandering through a nightmare while trying to make sense of what's happening around you. Most of the game is just basically exploration, a bunch of puzzles and hiding since you're small, slow, completely helpless, and that is pretty much exactly what makes the horror work in the game. It is easily one of the most unique horror adventures to land on mobile in a long time. It is a premium game, including a free demo on both stores, and is playable offline. This actually took a good 5 years to finally land on mobile, but it's finally here, and if you missed it, well, Bluefire is an adventure platformer that sort of feels like someone tried to make old school Zelda dungeon crawling with some precise, almost Void Runner type of platforming. Although Bluefire did actually come out to Android about a year ago, it was taken down for whatever reason. It's now back and there's a free demo for you to play as well. I think the game is at its best technically when you're going through these parkour areas, and less in the actual fighting. So if you like Zelda style exploration but also like enjoy skill-based platforming challenges in between, this is basically that blend. Super cute, pretty fun game, plays with an Xbox controller as well, simple enough to dive in at any time, yet engaging enough to keep playing for a long time. Highly recommend it.
New mobile game that you can play right now where dragons rule the skies and every decision matters.
Going down to number 3, we have Dragonfire, which is, I think I've mentioned the game maybe once before. It is exactly what I'd expect from a Game of Thrones 4X game. Considering this time you're actually showing up during the Targaryen War, when dragons are still everywhere and nobody can agree who should actually sit on the Iron Throne. Well, like I said, it's a 4X strategy game, so obviously you're building, gathering armies, forming alliance, expanding and stuff while trying not to get cooked by stronger players. The main attraction, of course, is the dragons themselves. They actually play a major role in both combat and progression. So yeah, if you have actually spent years playing mobile kingdom builders, well, this one's pretty much aimed directly at you. Grand Gangster War is one of those mobile games that has no shame admitting that it's chasing old school Grand Theft Auto formula. I'm pretty sure most of you are already familiar with it. This game has been out for some time. It's now available globally, and regardless of your region, you can play it now. It's the same old formula. You're running around an open world doing robberies, shootouts, prison escapes, car chases, whatever criminal nonsense the next mission just throws at you. And despite looking like a sort of sandbox, most of the game is actually built around story missions that keep pushing you from one stress call to another. It's still a little rough around the edges, but if your favorite part of Grand Theft Auto was just simply causing trouble and taking over the city, you will probably know what you're exactly getting into here. Well, here's the thing, guys. Motu Skeletor is another straightforward, endless running game where you're just constantly running and triggering abilities as speed slowly ramps up. Well, technically, this old game's charm is that you get to play as the Skeletor and unlock other characters as well, while the core loop never really changes. It's very standard runner structure. You go run after run, try to survive longer, hit a higher score, and slowly stack upgrades and unlocks that make future runs smoother. The ability and character effects add a little bit of flavor, but at its core, like I said, it's a pretty simple reflex-based type of running game. With that being said, Soulland Awakening World is actually the first open world MMORPG built around the Soulland universe. Definitely not the best, not even a proper one to be frank, but it's an attempt and a lot of folk demanded it. So it's primarily aimed at fans of the anime and the novels. It's got a pretty big world to explore with a bunch of bosses, hidden areas, familiar characters, and well, unlike a lot of MMOs, combat seems to be the focus. Not that it's, smooth or actually enjoyable though. But if you've been waiting for a Soul-like game in an MMORPG form, well, this is probably for you. Otherwise, definitely skip. Lost Twins 2, on the other hand, at number 7, is a puzzle platformer, where the whole idea is built around shifting the world itself around you to help these two separated siblings, Abby and Ben, find the way back to each other. And yeah, it's actually coming to Android and iOS after like almost 3 years of wait. There's no pressure here in this game, no enemies, no timers, no way to fail. It's just you, the puzzles, and figuring out how the world connects. It even supports co-op, so if you want to solve it with like some friend, go for it, all the way. If you like calm, thoughtful puzzle games, this is basically that slow problem-solving experience, and it's all wrapped in a really soft story-driven setup. I personally really cannot wait to play the Android version. With that being said, number 8, we've got Pokemon Champions, and Pokemon Champions actually officially targeting a mid-2026 release. It's coming to mobile and Switch. So for those of you who missed it, this is in fact straight up competitive, just battle hub. Classic turn-based fights, rank, private matches, singles and doubles. You can transform Pokemon from other games, tweak the moves, adjust the stats, and actually build your dream squad without starting from like zero. So yeah, this is for those of you who miss traditional PvP. Keep in mind, a new puzzle game, Pokemon Friends, also just dropped too, so you could say it's pretty safe to assume Pokemon in slowing down is pretty much expanded, and Nintendo is definitely making sure of that. Moving forward, number 9, we've got Inazuma 11 Cross, which is level 5, finally bringing Inazuma back to mobile, but not sort of as a straight football game. This time it is a sport RPG where you're basically acting as the brain behind the team. So you gotta build a squad, set tactics, pick moves, and then like watch everything play out through a command-based system instead of just full control per se. It's got that classic Inazuma energy with over-the-top plays, and if you grow up on the series, this is basically that same drama. It's just rebuilt for a more strategic mobile game, and it is actually in fact coming out worldwide on June 9, simply just 5 days. Lumberjack Sim is basically a first-person forestry sim where you start with just an axe, work your way all the way up into a full logging operation. You're not idling anything here. Every tree is chopped manually with actual falling mechanics where you can cut it, strip it, haul logs, and process timber step by step. And from there, it actually turns into a full loop of transporting wood, restoring a pickup truck, upgrading sawmill machines, and building production chains. It's a pretty slow game, methodical, and very hands-on, more about the routine of running a logging business than any arcade-style, say, action game. It's also free. Going down to number 11, we've got Hamba Cow Sim, which is, as you can see, a sort of a survival game where you're stuck inside a cattle market and a giant bull is chasing everybody down. Not really a bull, just an angry cow. And your job is pretty simple. You gotta run for your life for a set time while dodging the cow, grabbing XP, try not to get launched in the air by ragdoll physics. It's more of a meme-style survival game than anything serious. Got messy physics, lots of funny sound effects, and a small map built around just pure mayhem. Pretty good game, it is offline, it is free, and it's about 200 megabytes in total. Fame Game, on another hand, is sort of an influencer life sim, where you're starting from like none, zero, and trying to build a name for yourself. So yeah, it's an adventure sort of casual sim game where you create your character, hit different locations, meet new people, and complete these little missions that help you grow your popularity over time. The whole game revolves around climbing that social ladder. There's new opportunities, outfits, areas as your follower count keeps growing. It's also got that classic start as nobody, become somebody loop, except everything here is actually built around internet fame. It's an offline game, about 500 megabytes in total. Now, here's some good news and also bad news. Tidy Up Books' Magic Librarian is pretty much a mobile knockoff version of that old cozy library sorting trend that's been floating around PC lately. And yeah, you could say the original is Temu version. You're walking around this giant magical library, picking up books, putting them back where they belong, till every shelf is finally organized. This is definitely for the OCD crowd. So, to their credit, there's actually a decent amount of content here with like 1,000 different books to sort, surprisingly large library to clean up. And the biggest catch is the ads. There's a lot of them. So if you're the kind of person who finds organizing shelves weirdly satisfying, there's a lot of that here. Just, be ready for the game to like remind you it's free like every single minute.
Будет опасно, Мур, для тебя.
End of Andy is in fact a horror game where dying is basically the beginning of the story. You wake up in this weird purgatory where there's like a forest, a mansion, labyrinths, and a creepy neighbor who's constantly stalking you around the whole map. The whole game actually revolves around discovering, solving puzzles, finding these artifacts, skipping without getting caught. What's actually interesting is a death loop mechanic where like every time you die the world changes a bit, opening new paths and secrets and a bunch of other surprises. Throw in this sarcastic little demon cat companion, and you've got a pretty good weird mix of horror, stealth, and a little bit of comedy. Coming up behind that at number 15 with Crawl Tactics. In fact, this one's a very proper turn-based brain mode sort of game where anything you do really matters instead of just tapping and hoping you made the right choice there. That's right, it's a tactical RPG, which means your actions matter more than you might even imagine. So it's not just dungeon crawling, it's this slow tactical loop of planning, fighting, and rebuilding again. Pretty good pixel art, deep replay value, just one problem, it is not a free game, it'll take you $9.99. Rusty Axe is, on another hand, an offline hack and slash RPG, and it's built around repeated dungeon runs. Loot farming, character progression as well, and where you get to pick a class, a warrior, sorcerer, and just run missions that rotate between survival, defense, and boss-focused fights. It's pretty straightforward as well in structure, where you grind, pick up gear, enhance or dismantle it, and just gradually push into harder abyss content. Pretty solid game if you want a grind-heavy sort of ARPG loop that don't really reinvent anything in the genre, just plain old action RPG goodness.
The stronger one wins and absorbs the losing hero's power.
Number 17, we've got Luta, or short for Luminoria Tactics. It's a PvP card game trying to be a little more active than the usual formula, where instead of waiting around for your opponent to finish their move, both players are like constantly making decisions as the match goes further. You build a deck, deploy heroes into arenas, equip items, cast spells, and, try your best to adjust your strategy on the fly. The whole thing feels sort of closer to a real-time tactical battle than a traditional card game. So yeah, if you enjoy competitive deck building games but want something like with a faster pace, that is like pretty much the whole angle here. Dawn of Survivors at number 18 is straight up Vampire Survivor in overall pace. It's just a different skin. So you pick a character, end up in the middle of a PTSD battle, there's waves of enemies, you keep pouring in, and your whole job is to just basically don't die long enough to become overpowered. You get to unlock new characters, mix your abilities, stack synergies until the screen just turns into just a noise, and everything is suddenly melting around you. It's got that classic roguelite loop, where each runs short, simple on the surface, but once it kicks in, it's already too late to come back. All-Star Rugby League at number 19 is pretty much the full sort of rugby package. You jump into regular matches, international tournaments, live events, or you get to build your own club basically all the way from the ground up. A big part of the game is like creating your team's identity with kits, logos, colors, letting you put your own stamp on the club. On field, it's aiming a more authentic rugby experience as well, with both men's and women's teams to play. Anyway, so what I'm saying is if you like rugby, if you're a rugby fan, there's actually a lot here to sink into.
And I'm the creator of social fish keeping game Tiny Aquarium.
Tiny Aquarium is a little different, legitimately different actually. It looks like nothing at first. Like you just drop some fish in a tank, do a bit of fishing, upgrade a few things, and then suddenly you're like checking your phone right in the middle of an argument with your wife just to sleep on the couch later that night and have more time playing. I'm telling that from experience. It's got that old school virtual pet feeling, like where you're weirdly attached to what's basically just a little system of fish and timers. Nothing loud or complicated, it's just steady progression that actually feels good to come back to. You set it up, leave it running, and it keeps rewarding you for doing absolutely nothing. Really good game. And last but not least, we've got a co-op zombie shooting game where you can actually play with up to 4 players. And it's legit purely built on survival. It's sort of like, I mean, it's not justice to say that, but it is a bit like Call of Duty's zombie modes, but like in a low poly, mobile friendly, and solely just online formula. The story is you're in a subway station, trying to survive these increasingly harder waves, with the main hook being the overkill system, where like enough kills send you into this frenzy where you're overpowered whatever, and you can now chain combo and get the whole screen wiped out in like a second. We've got different upgrade cards, letting you build around things like crits, speed, etc. Pretty solid game, it's online, 2 GB in total, and it's pretty easy to understand as well. Thanks for watching, I really hope you enjoyed, I'll see you again tomorrow.